Are Christians supposed to be perfect? If you're a believer, does that mean that you are now somehow better than everyone else and should therefore always act in accordance with your faith? And by that I mean, you're not allowed to have moments where you fail. What if I told you that the father of our faith, the father of the three major religions, was not perfect and didn't pretend to be? Welcome to a beginner's commentary to the book of Genesis, chapter 12. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this teaching series. Great news! This video is sponsored by LawsonSpeaks.com, where you can find this Christian unisex hoodie. It is the perfect blend of faith and fashion for individuals like yourself who appreciate the essence of Christian streetwear. Or this Christian character traits backpack that is part of the periodical table of character traits book collection, complete with the book and the mug, sold separately, of course. So get yours today at LawsonSpeaks.com. Now, let's get into chapter 12, starting with verses 1 through 3. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to the land which I will show you, and I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great. And you shall be a blessing, and I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth will be blessed." We are now introduced to a man named Abram, who God simply tells one day to leave everything he has known, his comfort zone, everything, and not just leave one place behind, but go to another place which he doesn't know of yet. God is asking Abram to trust him. And if he does, he has promised things he cannot even begin to understand because it just doesn't make sense. I mean, you want me to leave my home, and not just leave my home, but also leave everything behind and head out to a place I don't know. But what I do know is that you will make me into a great nation and you're going to bless me. Has God called you away from your comfort zone? Has God called you to completely trust him? Look what happened when Noah trusted God and built that ark. He saved humanity. So what are you waiting on? Continuing with verses 4 through 6. So Abram went away as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. Now, Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot and all their possessions which they had accumulated, and the people which they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. So they came to the land of Canaan. Abram passed through the land as far as the site of Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. Now the Canaanites were in the land at that time. So what's the timeline here? Could it be that God called Abram and then 75 years later he departed? The Bible doesn't tell us how old Abram was when the Lord said to Abram, so we must conclude that Abram departed as soon as he was called, because later on we will see that the character of Abram would indicate that he acted when called. Okay, but notice how Abram took his nephew Lot and all their possessions and the people when the Lord specifically said to go from your country and from your relatives. This will not be the last time that Abram does not precisely follow the instructions of the Lord. Oh, and he also said that he would bless him, so Abram didn't need to give the Lord a helping hand. Continuing with verses 7 through 9. And the Lord appeared to Abram and said, to your descendants I will give this land. So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. Then he proceeded from there to the mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord. Then Abram journeyed on, continuing toward Negev. So let's talk about altars. Notice what Abram does upon hearing the promise that he will not be around to see. He believes it so much that he builds an altar to commemorate the event. Remember, the Lord said, to the land which I will show you. And Abram is marking them with altars and calling on the name of the Lord. Moving on with verses 10 through 13. Now there was a famine in the land. So Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a time because the famine was severe in the land. It came about when he was approaching Egypt that he said to his wife Sarai, see now, I know that you are a beautiful woman, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife, and they will kill me. But they will let you live. Please say that you are my sister, so that it may go well for me because of you, and that I may live on account of you. To trust or not to trust? That is the question. Why is Abram lying? Why is he asking his wife to lie? Is it really because he fears for his life? Or is it because he doesn't fully trust the Lord? Remember, God said that he would make his name great, and later said that he would give this land to his descendants that he doesn't even have yet. How is it that early in the story, Abram is shown as a man of great faith who builds altars to the Lord, and now as he enters a new territory, there's a major difference? We know his faith is not as strong because he is interceding for God, trying to ensure his safety. Otherwise, he will have no descendants if he is killed, and that would make the Lord a liar or covenant breaker. But let's not be so quick to judge Abram here before we take a good long look in the mirror, okay? Let's continue with verses 14 through 20. Now it came about when Abram entered Egypt that the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. Pharaoh's officials saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. Therefore he treated Abram well for her sake, and he gave him sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male servants, and female servants, female donkeys, and camels. But the Lord struck Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Then Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is it that you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister so that I took her for myself as a wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they escorted him away with his wife and all that belonged to them. Was she really kidnapped, though? There are some who argue that Sarai was kidnapped. instead of willingly given under the guise of a lie. Scripture tells us that Abram actually told Pharaoh, "She is my sister," which puts Abram in an unflattering light. However, the truth is that he lied to save himself. Or, put another way, he lied to help the Lord. Now, I get it. It's hard to know for sure if you really heard from the Lord. And if you did he really promise this thing? We don't need to help the Lord accomplish what he promised, even though we love to always get in the way. Now, I'm speaking of myself and to myself because you don't ever do that, right? Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance toward you and give you peace. Amen. See you here next time for chapter 13.